Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And tonight, new year, new plans. 2026 is now in effect. You guys know what to do, or do you? Because the year of your financial life has arrived. Everything's going to be in your favor if you are investing in assets. We have a government that loves crypto. We have a government that loves the stock market. Those are the places that you can play to win. Everything else could be off the table, but those things are going to rise. Now you have to figure out which one of these items are going to arise, because in crypto, in the stock market, several different things can rise at the same time, but not everything's going to rise. So you're going to have to do your homework and study. And welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream, the first one of 2026. Stop struggling now, gear. And I had to take something from the Miami Heat. Together we are unstoppable, ladies and gentlemen. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, I want to thank you so much for being here. Please share the video. It's going to be very, very important this year, because you never know what somebody's going through. And speaking of, we never know what somebody's going through, start it off. Findhelp.org for anybody that needs help in the United States. You put in your zip code of where you're located, and you will see a myriad of places, nonprofits that are in place collecting money from state and the federal government to help American citizens. So go to findhelp.org. A lot more people in 2026 are going to need help. More layoffs, more job losses, more businesses, more bankruptcy filings for businesses, record high already, is going to continue. So therefore, you need help. It's there. You wrecked your car. You got in that accident. You need extra car money. It's even there for some citizens in different locations around the United States, depending on if you're in a zip code that offers this. How about down payment for a house or an apartment? Things like that. Caregiving help. All kind of things that American citizens are going to need. The prices are going up. Let me know if you've received your healthcare premiums for 2026, and you will know what I'm talking about. If you've went down to the grocery store, you know what I'm talking about. So new year, new plans, number one on the list. How to do it? Reduce your debt. That is mandatory. You have to reduce your debt. Dead weight. Liabilities are dead weight. You're going to have to live within your means. None of this more credit card scenarios. The credit card game, it's going to be awesome sometime later this year. They're already doing 0% at 24 months. But if somebody told you, which I did last year, there will be a 0% for 36 months, pay attention. You need to put yourself in position to have a 750, but what we're targeting is 775 and higher. That means you have to reduce your debt in order for your credit score to rise. It has to be under, I call it 7%. That's right. If you have credit cards, 7% across all your total. So if you have a 5,000, a 2,000, and a 10,000, that's $17,000 of credit card that you have, a line of credit. You need to be under 7%. So if you don't know what that means, let's start with this and the real estate game. I am not a proponent in this scenario to be in the real estate game unless you're doing something very, very, very smart. So I'll do the 7%. What's 7%? So if you have 17,000, the most you can have is $1,242 of credit card debt across all your credit cards. All right. Keep that in mind. All right. If you have 17,000, just 7% of all your credit cards, revolving lines of credit. Okay. So keep that in mind. We need you at a 775 credit score later this year. You will thank me later. You can come back and say he was saying this even in 2025. I want to hear from you. All right. Because that gives you a unique advantage. If you can get 0% for 3 years for everything you buy, now you have reduced your debt. They have 0% for 24 months. If you qualify right now, you should be doing that. For everything you buy, should be going on that card. So you have 0% interest owed for 24 billing cycles. All right. That helps you out greatly. Reduces your debt. Credit cards are 17%, 25%, 30 some percent. It's all over the map. They are not your friends. Those are liabilities, ladies and gentlemen, and you're making them wealthy. Now, let me see if there's anything else I need to talk about in the house. Is an investor. He understands the assignment. He's been doing the assignment for the last 25 at least years, maybe more. Stocks, real estate, option income trading, meaning he's actually doing the trading himself. Welcome to 2026 SSN Nation live stream, the financial Friday night live stream, post retirement travel. And he brings his tagline this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, all. Let's do this. And also, he's a member of the channel because we have memberships again. Thank you so much. I humbly appreciate it greatly. Thank you for being here again, 2026. And are you paying attention, everybody, to everything? You cannot leave any stone unturned. So we already told you to go to findhelp.org because 8 out of 10 of you watching this need a little help. Don't even have 6 out of 10 of you don't have $500 in the bank account. 7 out of 10 don't have 1,000. So therefore, I know there are people that need help out here because a lot of things need fixing, cost way more than $700 or $100 or $500 or $1,000. So findhelp.org could help a little. But again, you need to reduce your debt ASAP. If anybody's paying attention, let me see if I can pull up something real quick. I want to find out what the 10-year bond is at this moment because I have a feeling, and I don't even, let's see if I can get to some of these markets real quick. I have a feeling it's not going to be pretty nice coming up for the bond markets, 30-year, 10-year, and all the rest. It's going to be dicey. The Federal Reserve, they could help you. You will get help. Jerome Powell is probably going to be replaced in about 2 months or less. And so his time is up. He served under, let me see, Trump, Biden, I think Obama too, maybe even Bush. So he served on 4 presidents. This president wants him ousted, like he doesn't know what he's and his cohorts are doing. The rest of the Federal Reserve, the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve, he's acting like they don't know what they're doing. The trust fund kid knows better. I don't know about you, but I don't like trust fund kids running a damn thing. Let's just put it that way, especially in economy. So therefore, you need to protect yourself, ladies and gentlemen. 100% agree. Goal is to be debt free. Build an emergency fund. Very well said. Everybody talks about that 6-month emergency fund, right? Well, it's going to be very hard if 8 out of 10 of you are living paycheck to paycheck. I understand that. So that's why he and I agree with the goal is to get debt free. So reduce your debt. So then that frees up disposable income. You'll find out real fast once you reduce your debt. You'll be like, holy smokes, I actually had all this extra money coming in. that I've been paying towards liabilities? That's exactly right. You could build up your fund. They always said 6-month fund. Sometimes you have to think 6 month is bare minimum. Sometimes you have to figure out, okay, what happens if that 6 month supply goes out? Then that means you need some other revenues coming in. That's why we want you to reduce your debt so you can buy assets that pay you. Some of those stock and dividends is one of the easiest ones. I don't like getting 4%. I like 10. I like 12. I like 15. Somebody right now is sitting there going, Eric, what are you talking about? 10, 12, 15. Okay, JEPQ. That's why you keep a pen. That's why you keep paper, or you keep even any kind of paper handy. So then that way, when somebody says something, you can go do your own research. You can go check out JEPQ, JEPI. That's JP Morgan. I don't even know if they are the largest, but I think either they're the number one largest bank or Bank of China. I don't know which one, but nonetheless, top dogs. That's their fund, ETF funds. You can go from anywhere from 7.3 on JEPI, I believe, 7.5 to around 10 to 10.5 with JEPQ. They're slightly different, but that just gives you two if you want to do better than a treasury bond at 4% or 4.2, right? So this is what you have to think about, ladies and gentlemen. New year, new plans, and the federal government is actually going to help those who make investments, the rich guys. This is for the rich guys this year. You don't have to be rich, though, to enjoy the ride. Because as I was saying, the Federal Reserve is probably going to reduce interest rates. He already is going to have, Jerome Powell's going to have a vote. He's going to have three others. So that's four and maybe a fifth because one of the board of governors are resigning. So that means he's going to have five votes. He's going to have to deal with about another seven. But the point is, if you get five, you can at least sway the other two to say, yes, thank you, we'll do it. Or sway whoever's there to say, we'll do, you don't need it's not 100% vote, ladies and gentlemen. That's not how it works. And the chairman doesn't have five votes. He only has one. All right. So here we go. Um, Here we go as well. I know it isn't that easy. Pay yourself first via direct deposit. There we go. Like I said, you got to write these down. Do your own research. Oh, by the way, some other stocks. Okay. ORC, ARR, AGNC. Uh, that can start it off. I like those myself because the real estate investment trust, whenever they start reducing interest rates like the Federal Reserve is doing, they get in-house special deals to refi. So therefore, they'll be able to still kick their revenue numbers out. Also, property generally goes up if they are successful in reducing the rates, which has nothing to do with the bonds. But again, trying to manipulate the mortgage rates will happen because, again, if you have paper, you can always flip it if you know the right guys and say, who will give me all of this paper money that people made mortgages for? You could flip it and say, okay, Federal Reserve, I have $25 million. What type of rate can you give me? They'll give them a rate. That's how it works. I mean, you can flip it into other things so you can get a lower rate than a mortgage rate for the person holding the paper. Me and you can't go to the Federal Reserve and say, give me interest only for 15 years. You can't. That ain't going to happen. All right. So now you guys understand the playbook, why you have to operate different than you see the billionaires operate, different than you see the millionaires operate. All right. You have to operate as you. You can't willy nilly go any further. You're stretched. Whoever you are, I don't even care if a person's making $150,000 a year, you're stretched. That's how it works. In America, prices are rising. They are not going down. All right, Brian P. Speaking of dividends, Mr. Dividend is in the house. 2026. Welcome to the SSN Nation 2026 Financial Friday Night Live Stream. He brings his tagline this evening. Happy New Year, Eric. Happy day, Eric. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you and everybody out there. I hope all is well with you and your family. Things are still going in a positive direction. Happy day, SSN family. Smash that like button. I love it. Give it a one piece. And by the way, if you like the gear, because this is not Stop Struggling Now, this is Heat Gear here. This here is SSN Nation. You can go to stopstrugglingnow.com for that. Smash that like button. Again, a one piece. That's two pieces. I got the notification, saw the video about the cars. Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Glad to hear that. Very, very nice to hear. All right, here we go. Both JEPQ and JEPI are paying monthly. They average between 45 cents to 60 cents per share. Exactly. And we'll even go one step further because the stock price for JEPI is $57.32, as expected. The JEPQ should be like $1 higher, right? Let's go see. Let's see. Yep, $58 as it is. Okay. And $58.09. So going according to plan. And now, if you know 60 cents is 660 divided by whatever, so now we know it's 10% for JEPQ. JEPI is going to be 520. So it's under. It's about what, 8% maybe, somewhere in there. Annual dividend yield. So again, that's better than negatives. Inflation is a negative. Tariffs are a negative. Dollar value decrease, another hidden inflationary number, meaning it costs you more of $1 to buy. So it's not just inflation from the cost of the goods rising. Now your dollar value drops because we print money. So again, financial literacy, every time we do live streams, you guys have to understand what's happening and why you're going to find it extremely harder to make ends meet later this year and throughout 2026, because again, your whole life is based on transportation of goods and services. If you have less truckers, that means to get loads moved, you're going to have to pay the remaining truckers more to take those loads, which now means the cost to deliver those loads costs more, which now means the end result is people have to pay more. This is not rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. That's just giving you one example. So I don't really care if your gas price is $1. It will not help you because that does not matter. If you have truckers going out of business, transportation companies going out of business, it doesn't matter because the cost to transfer the load is not based on gas. It's simple as that. So these are the things that's going down right now. Your insurance costs going to be more. Your property taxes, if you have them, going to be more. But if you don't have them and you rent, insurance and property taxes are going up. So that means your landlord will be sending you a new increase in rent payment. Either way, increase in mortgage, increase in rent, gonna happen. No way around it. The country's broke. States are broke. That's how it works. All right. Now we're about to hit an epic proportion because there are funds being sucked out of the system, jobs being lost. And you know what that means. You better have a plan for 2026, new year, new plans, ladies and gentlemen. That is the first stream this year, the year of your financial life. How to get ready. We're talking about it right now. You can get yourself some dividends. You can get yourself some stocks. You can also do what I'm talking about. Post retirement travel does the wheel strategy for stock market options. I don't know what options are yet still. I mean, I kind of know what they are, but I don't trade them. Mr. Dividend, he actually does dividends. That's why he's called Mr. Dividends. It's that simple. All right. Yield max ETFs, they like to give out high dividends. All I can tell you is go do your own research because what they do is they actually flip it. They'll use like a stock. I'll stay with Pelletier. PLTR is the Pelletier stock. They go with PLTY to create their own stock. You buy that, they give you a dividend based on option trading Pelletier stock, and the profits they receive, they share with the PLTY stock buyers. But they're not buying well, I shouldn't say it. They buy a little bit of PLTR, but PLTR doesn't give dividends. So holding it, it increases in value, but they only keep a small percentage of PLTR actual stock in their treasury. That has nothing to do with generating money that much, other than they're doing options with them. But the point is, the dividends could be 30%, 40%, 50% annually or more. So do your own research, study, but you have to get something that you can make money with yourself. Because if all else fails, new year, new plans. If all else fails, no job, right? Your business isn't going anywhere. Ask the farmers. Okay. Now what? What other streams of income can you make? You might have to do it yourself. You can't go out here and get a livable wage job, maybe. So therefore, you have to create one. And so that's why at the beginning of all live streams this year, we will be talking about stock market trading as a viable option. And I'm very happy. The MDA 0214 is in the house. Happy New Year and welcome to the first 2026 Financial Friday night live stream, SSN Nation style. And he says options isn't anything special, different ways to play it. You can trade the contracts like stocks uncovered. Difference is you're fighting your analysis plus time decay. I've heard about that time decay. I still never really got into it because, again, this was another thing I couldn't wrap my heads around when people were like, I understand calls, puts, and all this. But I was just like, what do you mean you bought this? It means, what is it, 100 of them? And I'm like, okay, that's cute. But I never delved into it, just like I never delved into the stock market trading. But again, whatever you do and you can do it yourself, you should consider it. Now, speaking of the stock market situation, so I'm out here minding my own business, looking at some other stuff regarding stock trading. And next, lo and behold, I see some guys that talk about they won some sort of World Cup trading championships. I'm like, what? What did you do? I was like in shock. I said, oh my, this is unbelievable. Hey, Eric, do like Russell 2000. Okay, I have no problem with the small caps. That's cool too. They move too. Um, I couldn't believe it. I said, holy smokes, what the heck is this? My competitive juices start flowing because these dudes were talking like, yeah, I won like something at the World Cup trading championships or something, and I was like, oh, where's this at? Because I'm thinking visions of grandeur. I think like you win some competition, and I'm thinking it's around the world where it's live and in person, kind of like poker stuff, right? That's in my mind when I'm thinking about these World Cup trading championships. I'm like, wait, we're all going to be in a room and we do some trading in separate cubicles or something. I was like, hold up. This is going to be something that we can do a day for like a week or so. I was like, hold up. No, it's not that. But the point is, they actually have it, and they have it on different platforms. So you can have the Forex. I don't even know all of them they have. But anyhow, I couldn't believe it. I said, oh, I got to find out about it. I get a call from a guy today because I was sitting there saying I'm a new guy and you guys have these ones that start at like 500. I just want to know what it was. And he's like, yeah, those are the micros. And then we have different ones. And we have several different. We have monthly, quarterly, annually. And I said, okay. I said, but when I started looking around, you don't win any money. You guys just give out a trophy. I said, but okay. Then the guy's like, yeah, but you're on the leaderboard. And then we have a advisor group. And the advisor group, if you actually win on a quarterly or annual on this World Cup trading, then corporations look for you to do trading for them and all this stuff. Oh, hold up now. Hold up now. He's like, yeah, it's like bragging rights because it's on this website and this, that, and the other. I said, okay, I kind of still like it. But I'm like, there's no vacations around the world. There's no meetups and have to show and do in person and battles kind of thingy. And no, none of that. No, you just have to go through our own brokers. They track you. The broker that whatever category you're in, everybody's on a level playing field and it goes by the percentage. You can still withdraw your profit. It's just they go by your percentage of basically what you traded over the quarter or over the year or over the month. And whoever has the highest percentage, you're number one. And he said something about the top three, I think, get these trophies. I never cared. I liked hardware when hardware meant they weren't participation trophies. See, that's the thing. Hardware now is kind of like, eh. Now I'm like, I need the title. I don't care about hardware. Anybody can get these damn things now. People sell theirs. I'm like, okay, I don't really care about the hardware. I want the title. So I may be entering into this thing and we'll see how it goes, even though I don't really care. I'm not that good. I'm just a beginner. But hey, that's why I figured the monthly one, beginner, low end is 500. So I said, okay, why not? And then that's when he explained to me I have to go with a certain broker. Then they have rules such as you can only have a 200 to 1 margin, I think, and it's on a certain. So whichever category you're in, um, depends on. Then you might have a different broker. So speaking of that, that's why I'm talking about it. It's pretty awesome. Let's go. Or you can do covered, which is leveraging shares you own to make money. Covered, or of course, it's little to no risk. Uncovered can grow more, especially if you're accurate. Yeah, again, MDA0214. See, I don't even know what you're saying. What you're saying at all. All right. But for someone with small account size, I would trade options. Thursdays and Fridays contracts are dirt cheap, but you got to be accurate. It's how I started. Yeah, I've never learned that way at all. I don't know anything about it. Like I said, whenever I tried to get info, people would be acting like I said, they would show me stuff on a screen. I didn't even know what I'm looking at. Similar to before what I know now. It was like if I didn't know what I'm all the charts and things like this, that's what I used to look at. I'd just be glossy eyed. I'd be like, okay, I see lines. This dude got lines. He's got colors. He's got something on the bottom that shows upward movement. He's got all these little different indicators. Now I understand the reason why people use different indicators. And so I didn't know what they meant. These people don't take the time to explain, oh, well, see, this is a trend. And this is what I did on when I showed up, when I woke up at 5 a.m. and I marked a high for the day, the low, or I ran the trend lines or something. They didn't explain none of that. They're just acting like everybody knows what they're doing. I just see lines on a page while they're talking. I'm like, okay, I see like 5, 6 different lines on there. What I don't know what he's talking about. So I will do this. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Check this out. I just went to here's the competition. Check this out. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. This is what I couldn't believe. Here it is. You guys, let me see if it's on the screen. Yeah, you can see it. This is what was so unbelievable. Check this out. Look at this. I couldn't believe it. I saw this and I was like, wait, hold up. Look, World Cup futures, Global Cup futures, quarterly futures, monthly futures, World Cup Forex, Global Cup Forex, quarterly Forex, monthly Forex. So you see, I was talking about the little one because, of course, I don't even know what the hell I'd be doing, but it would be hella fun. And again, they were just carte blanche, you'll just be on some sort of leaderboard. But look at this. Look at this. So again, you guys, if you're new here, you may not know I play professional poker. I was actually a sponsored player for poker rooms. So to give you an idea, what would happen is, even though I played, like we play in the poker room, right? The thing is, people would sign up because after you play, they start talking to you because they know you're a poker pro for the online site while you're playing on the site. So then people would say, well, why did you do whatever move? You know how people banter at the table because you can chat. And then I'd say, well, this actually is because I just wrote an article about it. You can go check it out at the website. And so what would end up happening is people can watch and then eventually they go sign up because now you're talking to people, you're saying go check out the latest article I wrote was just about this, or you promote it and say, hey, use my link and you get like $500 bonus or something if you deposit a 250 or whatever it was. But it would be things like that. So that's what these guys were telling me. They're like, oh yeah, man, if you end up in the top one, two, or three on the annual one or the quarterly one, he goes, that gets you exposure. Then you can have it on your website or you can start your own whatever and it has a little cachet. I was like, man, I don't know what you're saying. I never heard of this place. I never heard of this. So anyhow, I thought it was hella funny. And that seems to be the key. And it ends up where, how did I find it? Was because there was something on YouTube where a guy was trading and then he started calling himself like, I'm the world's number one trader or top trader. I was like, well, how do you quantify that? I was like, that's nice to say, but how do you quantify that in reality, right? So I was like, all right, let's go figure this out. Okay. I was like, let me go see what this guy's talking about. Then come to find out, somebody mentioned World Cup championship thing. And I was like, wait a minute. Sure, I looked it up. He won like 2 years. And I'm sitting there like, this is crazy. This is actually awesome. It's all trackable. Nobody can mess up the system, can't fake it. And so I thought it was very interesting. So here's what I'm going to do though, because this is even more interesting when I saw. Let me see if I'm at the right place. Look at this. So this is at the end of 2025 because it's January 2nd, right? So here it is. Here's the winner of the futures trading, and here's the winner of the Forex trading. So here you are, 324% net wins the futures, 600% wins the Forex trading. This is the annual one, January 1st through December 31st. Final pending audit because you have to go through their broker. So everybody, you can't like cheat. So again, I said, that's cool. But look at the difference between this first place guy and this second place guy, which I found interesting. And these are supposedly some of the best guys in the world. And what do I see? I'm starting to see, like, look at the futures here. The guy ended up in fifth, and he's 69%, which is very interesting. This guy ends up fifth, he's 126%, which is double and a quarter. So, in these, you have to do 10,000. So over the course of a year, and they told me you only have to do 9 trades a month to qualify, which is not that many. But I'm sitting there like, well, if this guy has 126, that's only like, isn't that like 10,000? Wouldn't that be like 26,000 over a year? You go 16 grand more, right? I think that's what that is. So I found that very interesting. Then look at this, the Global Cup. We have a guy at 186. There's nothing to. But again, I'm noticing this isn't saying like 1,000%. This isn't saying all this crazy stuff that people be talking about. But here is a guy right here for the fourth quarter, 930% in just one quarter. That's 3 months. That's very interesting. But look at the quarter for the Forex, 58%. So I figured I got a lot of people here that do these tradings that's watching. So I figured um, I find it interesting that these are the numbers. They are not high numbers as I would expect. I thought I was going to see something like, I, I just thought 500% minimums kind of thing. I figured there'd be people that would be, you know, five times the amount they started with over a year, maybe even 10 times that amount, which would be 1,000. But I don't see anybody with thousands. 930 is pretty damn good. That is hella good, quite frankly. But here we have 600 and 300. So again, we're not talking about crazy numbers that I anticipated. Because I was thinking, I was like, well, what about all these guys that say I went from what 15,000 to $1 million? I'm like, okay, so why would you not be in this competition if that's what you're doing? You would have your name up here in the board. You'd be able to promote yourself and say, see, this is what I do. Like this guy right here, 800%. That's crazy. That's awesome. But it's not that often. I'm looking at all these other ones. Here's a monthly, only 162 for Forex. But I say only, but still, I mean, that's monthly. 162% in 1 month is pretty damn good, right? At least you went 2.5, or you started with, it doesn't matter. You started with, let's say, yeah, it's 500 on these, on the low one, anyhow. So basically, he did at least what, 1,500, 1,600, something like that. But nonetheless, all I'm saying is that's not bad. 500 again for another guy. I mean, this is crazy. This is great. This is great. I had it on the screen kind of small. Let me know what you guys think about this. We have traders in the house. I mean, there's something for everybody. Look at this. Previous winners. Look at this. This guy won Q2 futures. This guy, again, who has that crazy, these guys have crazy numbers. Q2 Forex Trading Championship, quarter 2. That means the quarterly. Here goes this guy. I mean, you have your name up in lights. Nobody can take it away from you. So this is interesting. These two guys right here, global. This is the 10,000 futures trading and the 10,000 Forex trading. These two guys win back to back. How crazy is that? Against the rest of the world. That's interesting. That's very, very interesting. I'm like, this right here, 1,100%, 1,138%. That's pretty impressive. That should win. Then we go down 400%. But then this guy, Patrick Neal, is here again. This guy's on several things. That's very interesting. So some people were like, I'm going to prove I'm pretty damn good. At least that guy did. He's like one of the only people that's name is on here several times. This guy here, Nasri Khan, is Q2 futures and Q1 futures. So he was doing damage in 2024. But I find this awesome myself. So anyhow, you get on the board of advisors with these guys, and again, all these guys who won, they get looked at from hedge funds and get hired and do all kind of crazy stuff. Then they can promote their own thing. I find it very, very interesting. I don't know what trading career means, but oh, become a professional trader. Okay. I didn't look at this website. I just Googled it before I got on because I was like, oh, yeah, I got to talk this. This is kind of cool. So when somebody says that they can do trading pretty good, then you should enter this. Specifically for tracking. Kind of cool if I was able to do it, which would be the odds of that is slim compared to people that's been actually trading for years. But I'm still game. I'm still game. So I'll let you guys know whenever I do it, but we'll see. So let me know what you guys think about this. I think it's pretty cool. There's also another one while I'm thinking about it. Hold on. There's one called Robbins, or it might even be the same thing. Robbins Cup. There we go. Robbins World Cup. While I'm thinking about it, why don't we just, I think it's the same thing. It's just that I came across it, so I don't know exactly. Yeah, it says Robbins Trading, but then it says First World Cup Futures Trading. So I don't know. I'm not going to look into it tonight, but um, that's pretty cool. Okay, let me know what you guys think about this. What do you guys think? All right. Okay, but for someone with a small account size, I would trade options Thursdays and Fridays. Okay, you guys are getting a little bit of tidbits. MDA0214 trades. He seems to know an awful lot about trading. I've never heard of that website. I'm sure a lot of others haven't either. And what's the point of it? Is there a cash reward? That's what I told him. I said, what I said, that's what I was saying when they called me up. I said, hey, man, I said I was all interested until you guys did a couple of things. When I got to the put in your social security number, I was like, I don't know who you guys are. I'd never even heard of this before. He's like, he's like, yeah, man, but you have to have we open up the broker account for you have to open up the broker account for social security. So therefore it's a regulated environment. So we need to do that. So I was like, okay, so we got to pay taxes. If the monies you're going to have to pay tax on, it's going to be reported. So we need the social security number. All right, fine. I said, that's why I stopped and didn't want to sign up. I said, I don't know who you are. I still don't know who you are. But the point is, so that's when he started talking about, and that was my point. I said, okay. I said, when I perused through here, I didn't see any trips. I didn't see any vacations. I didn't see any perks. I didn't even see, do you even have a win money from this? And when the answer was no, we don't have none of that. That's when I was like, well, then what's the point? He gave me four things. And he goes, well, if you win the thing, then your name is on the board and you can promote it. So if you had a following, you can promote that you're in position 3 or whatever for the whole time the event's going on. I said, oh, yeah, okay, I get that. But then he said, advisor. When he said advisor, I was like, what? Wait, what did you advisors? He go, yeah, we have a board, world advisors, whatever it was called. He says, those people, um, we have hedge funds, we have corporations, whatever. He's, people who are looking for somebody with skills, and then they might hire you or would want to hire you. That's how some of our winners. Or we also, once you're on that advisor board, you actually can promote some stuff within the whichever group that you're in. So you can promote things that is in the World Cup plus other platforms and you get paid. So then I was like, oh, okay. So this is kind of like when I used to be a sponsor for a poker room. And I would tell people to go. So I'd get paid when people would sign up, people would play and things like that. He's like, yeah, that's one of the things. If you end up first, second, or third, most of the time you get offers from the big guys to come and trade, help them or something, trade. And I was like, okay, man, fine. If that's what we're doing. I said, you know what? I don't really care. The point is, I think I'm going to join anyhow just to see if I can actually pull something off. I challenge myself, even though I'm relatively new. 3 months. I said, I've been studying, but I said, I'm game. And then when he said, oh, yeah, you don't have to do 9 trades a month, I was like, well, then, um, okay, but I don't really care. And then when he said you can withdraw there's no limits. You can withdraw anytime. So it's just like a brokerage account, normal brokerage account. So I was like, okay, so basically it's the same thing. He goes, yeah, it's just, except it's tracked. And that's why you can only sign up with certain brokerage, depending on which one you're in. If you're in the 10,000 bracket, then you're going to sign up with a brokerage. If you're in the 10,000 for the Forex, you'll be in a broker. If you're 10,000 for the futures, you're in this. If you're in the 500 category like you, then this is the broker you use. So we sent you an email, and that's the broker. Everybody in the 500 signs up with this broker. That's how it's all tracked. So it's all fair. It goes by percentage. So yeah, I said the same thing, MDA. There was no money on the front side. There's no, other than a trophy. That's it. And the only other thing is, obviously, you have bragging rights and you have other things. I've never heard of this. But anyhow, I had to talk about it because we have traders here who might want to have a little fun. a little competition to see how you stack up against whoever knows about this. I'm like, there may not even be that many people that even know about it. I don't know. Um, Sound like a scam. Most hedge funds use computers now, and others create those pop firms. Prop firms, yeah, that's the other thing. To have people trade for them, I wouldn't touch it. Yeah, I thought it might be as well. So of course I had to start looking around for some of these guys that are in the leaderboards. And unbelievably, some of these guys popped up doing actual trading on YouTube. I was like, this can't be happening right now. This really, really can't be happening right now. I was like, okay, let me find out what is going on. Um, in fact, look at this. There's somebody right here. How a top third World Cup trader, since I put in World Cup and I was searching, 169% return Q1 2025. Second best day trader in the world, Robbins World Cup 2024. Not a scam. There's people out here that's actually been in this thing. I'm just like, this is unbelievable. And their names are up there too. And it's been going on for a while. This is like, it might be an overseas thing though. See, I don't know what the origin is. I didn't even get into it. I just did something yesterday. And then this morning, a guy called me up from the World Cup Trading Championships and was talking with me about it. I was like, all right, man. I said, yeah, I was reading some stuff. Like I said, I signed up, but I didn't go after I got to the social security number thing. I was like, hold on, I don't know who these guys are. So that's how it all went down. So still gonna do some more searching, but um, I I'm like, this is pretty cool. So I don't know what the origins is, but I think it had something to do with this Robbins Cup as well. So anyhow, we'll find out. He says I wouldn't touch it. Nah, man. I mean, if it's like gaming, I mean, I don't. That's why I said it'd be worth. I If I'm gonna do it, that's why I said I'll just do 500 for the month, just to see what it's like. I've lost more money than that over the years. So I figured I'd enter into the 500 one and see what I'm doing. And you trade on TradingView, by the way. Um, for this, I think all of them are probably going to be TradingView, but so you have to be on TradingView and you have to be with whatever broker for the competition. So 10,000 is a different one. That's what he told me. He said the 500 is this is the broker. If you're on a 10,000, they use a different broker, but it's all tracked for this competition. I was like, cool. He's like, I still wouldn't touch it. If you plan on building a page off of it, it may be worth it. That's it exactly. Nah, it's not that. I just like the competition. Once I deem if I'm going to take the risk, that's the question. I still haven't signed up. I just like the competition. I said that's what get my juices flowing. So when somebody says, you know, if who's the best, if this actually is a thing, again, apparently it is because there's people talking about it now that I know it actually exists. I never ran across anybody until I put in World Cup trading. And just like right now, when I did the search, people show up. That's crazy. That's awesome, quite frankly. Um, and it's been going on for quite a while. This isn't new either. So we'll see. But I just wanted to give you guys something out there. Now, let's get back to the business at hand because it's a new year. You have to have a new plan or consistent plan to move forward because assets that you control, assets that you pay are going to be mandatory. The year of your financial life is going down. How to get ready? We've been talking about it. Learning how to trade would also help you. And if you learn the other, it's almost like I say, I always equate this to poker. If I only played no limit poker, that's all I would know. But there's other disciplines. There is a limit poker. There is a pot limit poker. There's other styles of poker, 7 card stud, besides no limit, right? Omaha, more cards in your hands. So different disciplines is the same way I treat stock market, because we just talked about option trading, right? There's forex, which is almost, it's different, but option trading is one way. Then people do futures, right? Then people do stock market trading, stock trading. So there's like different things within the same thing. And that makes this similar. So similar, it's ridiculous. So we're going to find out how similar it is. Okay, we'll find out. I'm okay being last place as long as I'm profitable every day. Hey, that is the picture right there. I still wouldn't touch it. Um, yeah. That's my point, though. That's my whole point. Under there, whatever the root, because like I said, they have this thing, 200 margin, 200 to 1. And I was like, I don't really care what it is. But the fact of the matter is, at least if people are actually intentionally trying to win, I like that, because then it's not like we're just doing ordinary stuff. You're actually trying to win, right? I would think. And if you do win, then something good you can create out of it, or somebody could be knocking on your door about it. But either way, it'd be fun for me. I said, I need a little juice. So one of those things is juice, because now when I'm getting my ass beat, which is inevitable, I'm thinking I only been doing this, paying attention for 3 months. I'm thinking I'm going to get my ass beat, right? But, but at least I can always know the one thing: study, research, always improve. So we'll find out. I think I'm going to do it. I'm just haven't really looked at anything today, but we'll see how it goes. So I had to tell you guys about it so you guys would know about it in case anybody was interested in even having a little fun. All right. There's no referral links for it or anything like that. So why is this doing this here? Oh, okay. That's why. All right. Now we're back at it. Oh, first things first, because I forgot, since I'm talking about stock market trading, obviously I always have to give it's not my broker account, but I use it, which I cannot use at TradingView because they won't allow CoinEx. Go figure. Kind of funny. You know why? Because they aren't in the regulation business. So, not in the regulation business, with the United States, nonsense, great. So, I'm putting in my link. This is what I use. And you can go up to 500 to 1 on CoinEx. I don't know about the others, but now I'm going to have to find out about the others. All right. And they use crypto to upload. USDT, USDC, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. I'm probably missing something else. So that leads to the other things, right? Because again, I need protection. I don't want anything inside the United States being exposed. So that leads to the next thing. If I'm going to use crypto, then I need two things, which I talk about every now and then. I need you guys to understand unstoppable domain is pretty cool. It's just I'm going to put a link in the chat room. Everybody on replay, if you're watching this, you don't see live chat, then if you're on mobile, you go to the first comment, you swipe left or tap on it. Some menus will come up and it'll say live chat, and then you tap on it to go to the live chat. So then you can get these links that I put in the chat room. All right. That's the thing. So unstoppable domain. That's what we need here, right? We're going to have to do unstoppable. Oops. Unstoppable domain means SSN lifestyle dot crypto. So I don't have to give you an alphanumeric character. All right. And after the live stream, there'll be a link down below. So stop struggling now .crypto. They have several different. They have, you know what? I'll just do it this way. I'll just go to unstoppable domain. It's a one-time fee. That's the main thing. All right. It's always been a one-time fee. So I'll just put, they have like a ton of stuff. Let me put in okay, here, I'll put in SSN lifestyle since it's already in, and it'll tell me what's available. Well, we already know .nft's taken, dot uh, crypto's taken. So now they have, okay, we don't want this. What is this? What is this .com stuff? Okay, this is funny. Oh, here we go. They've changed it up where they're now selling .coms on this site. No, we don't want that. We want webs. We want web threes. We don't want that. So I'll give you what they have under SSN Lifestyle left. It's going to be like dot Zill, dot Bitcoin, dot whatever, dot WIF, dot wallet, dot Polygon, dot Pudgy, dot Unstoppable. Nah, that's an icon. ETH, ETH, DAO, Poker. No, we don't like. 888 is $20. Zill, no. Bitcoin, no. Dot bunch of stuff. They done went crazy here, but we're talking about a one-time payment. That's it. So that just gives you an idea right there. All right. I'm looking at a few things. So I put it in the link for you guys for the unstoppable domains. Go over there, check it out. You want the crypto ones because it's a one-time payment. So all this time, these things probably cost $5, $10 years back. The thing is, you don't have to give anybody alphanumeric characters. You just give them like stop struggling now .crypto, and people can send crypto to it. The top 400 tokens, coins can send there. So that's it. That's how simple that is. And I don't have to pay an annual fee. And what's even better, it's a blockchain. You mint it, can't be taken unless the blockchain goes away. And you can actually build a small little website on there, maybe a couple pages, but you can't put really any gigabyte worth of stuff on each page. Videos and all that is going to be limited to an amount of space that you're going to have on the blockchain. But now it can't come down. Just saying, it's not like, it's just the way the world works. People try to block you, try to do things. You just never know what's going to happen 5 years from now, 2 years from now, or even this year. So protect yourself, and you have assets. So therefore, that gives you an opportunity. Now, with the CoinEx thing, that's offshore. So you guys already know I'm talking about offshore, ladies and gentlemen. Offshore. Brian P., do subject properties. Have you done deal? Are you talking about subject to? You're talking about subject to. I know you are. Okay. I'm just going to say what I've always said about these subject twos. I do not condone doing subject twos. I'm going to tell you why. Simply because, again, I had stuff stolen by the government, not because of subject twos. But the thing is, once you understand what actually happened, so when you do a subject to, what a person normally does is they enter into an agreement. Like, let's say I have a house. Now I can't afford it no more. So I have this dude, Pace Morby. This dude, man, Pace Morby. I have him come to my door because he used to be on like one of those TV shows with real estate. And then apparently he does this subject to crap. So I have my house for sale. Nobody wants to buy it. This guy comes to me and says, I'll do it. Will you do a subject to, meaning I give him title, and then I still have the loan on the house. I make an agreement with him. Let's say I bought the house for $350. Now it's worth $600. He says, I'll give you $600 on a payment plan. I'll give you whatever, $25,000 right now so you can move out. And now, since he has title, that I gave him title in his company or whoever, that actually blows my mortgage clause. Now, the reality of the situation is, as long as the mortgage is paid, no problem, right? But the other part of the reality is your mortgage, all mortgages have a deal where you can't give title to somebody else is actually in the mortgage. Banks don't enforce this really until there's an audit because somebody says that they want to buy the paper. So then these people, the company, or whether it's the same mortgage company or another, they start doing, okay, let's check all the everything's matching right. Then all of a sudden they find out you may not. So here's the pitfall for the guy that does it, that owns the property and does this deed subject to nonsense. The mortgage company can call up and go, hey man, you messed up. We call your note due. That's one thing. Second thing, you're supposed to be your primary residence and they find out you transfer title. I'm just saying these are the things that used to come up years ago that you would never do this. So these are the pitfalls. Second thing. So my friend told me about this guy. That's why he goes, yeah, man, this dude pays more, but he's doing subject to da da da. I said, okay. I said, yeah, you can do it, but I'm just saying the part. And now I still have a mortgage. He's paying me. Now when I go somewhere else, that mortgage is still on my credit. So now I have, if I want another house, now I got to make twice as much, or I got to make way more money because they're going to go, well, you got a primary residence over here. What's going on? Oh, I got a subject to. They're like, what? They're like, what did you just say right now? So the point is, now you go and try to get something else. That's on your credit as well. Now, the other thing is, I said, okay, let me go see what else this dude's talking about. And the reason why I'm saying his name is because he has videos out here and he's talking about this. And I saw a video and I was like, what? I said, of course he would do this. So what does he do? He makes himself anonymous naturally. So if something goes down and you need to sue him, you're not going to probably find him because he uses corporations and he protects himself from lawsuits. So as soon as he started explaining that he does this, I was like, of course you do. And this is one of the reasons why I told everybody before when people would go, Eric, how come you don't have corporations under your real estate and this, that, and the other? I said, there's a reason. I said, because there's so many scammers out here that when I do my stuff, I want my name on it. So that way, when I'm telling you something, you go, okay, Eric, whatever you want to do, my name's on it. There's no corporation. There's no hiding. There's no, I don't know where you live and all that bullshit. That's what that guy does, though. He's got his stuff hidden. So I'm like, I don't like it. I'm just, you might like it. Other people might like it. You can get property this way. Yes. The thing about subject to is in a great economy, it always works, right? Property values go up. Then that person, he would sell the property at the higher value. So everybody wins. Your property gets paid off. He makes whatever, $100,000, $200,000, made some passive income over the last, few months or whatever year. So that's a win-win. But when the economy stalls, like it is now, let's say, in a lot of areas, now all of a sudden, like I'll use in Southwest Florida right now, home prices are down 20 to 30% from their peak. So what that means is if somebody bought a house for 300 and then you had a subject to guy come in and say, well, I'll give you 550, and the thing was valued at 650, that's all good. But now if it drops 30%, the value of the house is now no longer 650, but it's like 495, 500. That person said, I'm going to give you 550. Now all of a sudden it starts getting a little more dicey because now that person is probably going to say, I'm not going to buy this, even if the contract says you were only doing this 5 years or whatever. This isn't good. The house isn't worth that number. So What's going to happen? I don't know. Oftentimes people just walk away and say, oh, well, um, you here, you got your property back. I could, whatever. You just have so many liabilities. I don't like it. That's all I'm saying. From the only person that has the most liability is the person that actually gave a person like this Morby guy the subject to, because you're at risk for however long you sign that contract. If payments don't come in, then what? If the person that he rents it to doesn't pay him, then of course he probably guarantees that he'll pay, but for how many months? You just have too much risk if you are the seller to a subject to. If you are the person doing the subject to, you would say, well, I'm not at risk, but you will be at risk. If the real estate market goes down, you are at risk. And the other problem is, remember, you have title, there's still a mortgage company oftentimes. So since there's a lien holder, you really don't own nothing. The title is just a holdings place once the house is sold. But again, it's going to be very, very interesting because it depends on time. All right. Um, it's a lot of people who use that strategy. Yes, it's subject to. Again, when I was in real estate heavily, what they're allowed to do now, if somebody did that within a year, your loan was going to be due once the mortgage company found out. That's what they would do back in the day. They would yank your mortgage if you transferred title to somebody else. They'd be like, what are you doing? You don't even own the place. Even though you go, well, I can transfer this title, yes. But the mortgage, we're still the lien holder. You're transferring title as far as we're concerned, or attempting to. So we're calling the note due. That's what they used to do back in the day. So that's why I'm against it, because I don't know when or if they'll start being strict like that again. Because again, America's fickle, right? Back in the day, you're getting called. You wouldn't be doing this crazy. Now people are doing this, and now they're giving title to somebody else. And by the way, once you give title to somebody else, that person can do it to give that title to somebody else. By the way. So again, there's a situation where somebody has, just like if you're trying to do a trust, an irrevocable style trust, where you have to place the property in there. Well, situations come up. There's a mortgage on the house. What does the person do? They give title to the trust. The title to the trust. Fine. Fine. In this particular case, in 2025, the bank goes, no problem. Because I don't know how many years are left, but let's just say there's 10 years left. And the bank goes, no problem. The trust has the title. We're fine with that as long as the mortgage is paid. So if the trust pays the mortgage, or anybody pays the mortgage, we're good. That's what the bank says. That's a Golden One credit union, by the way. Might as well be transparent about that so people understand. If you have Golden One and you want to put your property in the trust, they will say, okay, protect yourself. So you can actually give title to your trust, and the mortgage can still be in your name. And if you passed away, no problems. They'll say, okay. But if you have a dispute, which is my friend's case, two people are the trustees. One wants to sell it, one doesn't. Guess what? A partition sells. That's all you have to do. You have to pay 5 to 10 grand to do a partition. That means the court forces the sale. So either the person, if they want to keep the house, they would have to pay the note and give the other person the difference with the profit, or however you got to do it. They got to give them the profit. That's what the person, why they want to sell it. But that's what we deal with, right? So you can do it. They're lenient. They're like, okay, we don't really care. You transferred the deed to nobody, but as long as we get payments, that's all we care about. So a lot of banks could be like this. There may be no problems until there's problems, until liquidity dries up, until transfer of title, another mortgage, they transfer the paper. All of a sudden, it starts being a little like, hold on, man, we're not cool with, we're the lien holders now. And now we find out this other dude has a lien holder too. Nah, man. So again, I'm very leery of these. I don't like it at all because it can work for people, yes, but again, uh, I don't like subject twos. That's a way to get property. Very true. A lot of people, like right now, there's a lot of people that are under foreclosures. So this tends to go to the subject to crowd, or takeover payments, or option trade, lease option type purchases, or rent to owns. All this comes up, but the transfer of the title is a major step into this other side, that if somebody wakes up one day and the bank doesn't like you, or the mortgage company doesn't like you, and then they go, well, he transferred the title, let me just call it, because all right, we got the notes in here, he can't sue us either, it's in all the mortgage agreements that you sign. But they can always ignore those and agree. But again, if property values fall, and this is happening right now in America, it could get dicey. So just be careful out there if you plan on using it. And especially if you're the one being sold it, you're the one that actually has you're on the lien. You're the lien, not you're the lien holder, but you're the one that signed the mortgage. The person that you gave the title to, they're not obligated to pay the mortgage. You're the one, if they don't pay and you can't pay, you're the one that's going to be screwed. So all I'm saying is I don't like those at all, only because of what used to happen back in the day. Nowadays it may be different. But like I said, Golden Ones seem to have no problem with the deed transferred to somebody else and they have a loan. They said no problem, but it could be because it was the family. Again, that may be the caveat about that. I don't, I don't know if this is a norm, but they were all family members that the deed got transferred to. So, um, but that doesn't mean anything, because right now there's a lien on there, a loan on the house. One party wants to sell it, one party doesn't. The party that wants to sell it isn't paying the mortgage. The party that wants to keep it is paying the mortgage and everything else, making it very, very unfair, uneven. But now you got to go to court. And I don't like leaving things up to the court in this scenario where you're going to go in and go, look, I've been paying this, whatever, $3,000 per month to maintain this property for the last year. And then now the court decides on, do you get that back from the sale price? And what if the court says no? 30 G's or more. Crazy, crazy. But hey, it goes to court. Everybody wasting lawyer money to boot. It gets kind of crazy. That's in the trust scenario. A revocable trust is what they have. But back to, you know what? I'm going to Google something right now. I'm going to, is it illegal to transfer title of a property if there is a bank lien holder? It's going to be interesting because I believe what they're going to say is it's not illegal. Yep, I knew they were going to say it's not inherently illegal to try to transfer a property with a bank lien, but the transfer won't be clean. The lien stays attached, giving the buyer a clouded title and major risk. While the lender usually requires loan to be paid off due on sale clause exactly before a full transfer, meaning the bank's interest must be satisfied to get a clear title, You can't transfer full clear ownership without paying off the mortgage, as the bank still holds a legal claim and can force a sale if they're not paid, making it a complex process requiring lender consent or loan payoff, typically handled at closing, which reminds me of that last sentence. You know that nobody can just call in and get a loan payoff number, right? The person, so again, you would have to always be in contact. A lien is a legal claim, not ownership, but it gives the lien holder bank the right to force a sale to get their money back. Exactly. Most mortgages have the due on sale clause. This is what I was talking about. Allowing the lender to demand the entire loan balance immediately if you transfer ownership without their approval. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Back in the day, they would pull the due on sale clause. They'd be like, oh, you trying to be funny? You're trying to be funny with our asset? Notice what I just said? The bank mortgage company would have the thought process, which is correct. You trying to be funny, trying to transfer title of our asset, not yours. You still haven't paid it off. Think about that, will you? That's why it's a liability. It is not the only reason a house is an asset in America is because home prices rise so drastically that somebody can live in a house for 4 or 5 years and the house is, 50% more than what they bought it for. So that turned it into people always being able to make money from selling houses. This isn't the 2 to 3% a year housing market up until 1980, right? That's generally what it was. 2 to 3%. That's it. So nobody thought a house would go up so fast, so quick. 10%, 20% within a year. No. Used to be 3. It would take 7 or 8 years for that to happen. All right, anyhow, clouded title. A property with an unpaid lien has a clouded title, making it difficult for a buyer to get a new mortgage or insurance, and they risk foreclosure if the lien isn't handled. So all of that is what goes down. And like I said, this is why when I saw the dude, I was like, dude, stop it. There are folks in Southeast Florida doing subleasing of bedrooms inside the property they rent, most of the times without owner's knowledge. I know the rent there is insanely high, 4K, 5K for 3 bedrooms. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's slightly different. That's slightly different because the bottom line is it's supposed let's just get things straight. In America, they're not really checking. If I have a house and I have a 5-bedroom house and I got a loan primary residence, that gives you a lower rate. So now I turn around and I say, well, I'm going to rent out 4 of the 5 rooms. I'm not even going to live there anymore. So again, mail probably still comes to the residence. Nobody's showing up to check, so to speak. That isn't happening. So it's no problem. There's not going to be a problem with that. There's no title transfer. You're doing short term or long term rentals. That's no law against that. So that's not really a problem. The only time problems come is when you try to do, like I said, this subject to stuff I don't recommend. And I saw there's other people besides that guy that does this. Just that my friend asked me and told me about that guy. And like I said, I know what's coming. I said, let me find out what he's doing because I know there's going to be some F ups. I know there's going to be some calls where the mortgage company says, hey, calls up the owner and says, hey, man, we understand you transferred title to somebody. What's happening? And then that person, when they were told, oh, due on sale clause right now, I'm pretty sure some people called up this dude and said, hey, man, they want the whole amount like now, or they're going to foreclose on the property. And that messes up my credit, by the way. And I don't have the money. And I'm pretty sure. So that's why when I looked at it, I said, yeah, I know he's going to hide his address where people can't find him. I said, I know that's going to be the playbook. And sure enough, I found some stuff where he was showing a video talking about, yeah, I do this with my LLCs and I do this. And then, I'm just like, man, of course you do. Of course. So yeah, you're going to have winners You're going to have a lot of winners, but you don't want to be the one holding the bag when this all goes down. If some mortgage company decides that I want your house, like I said, I've had that scenario before. They said, I want your house. So, like I said, you guys, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. And only from my experience, I go, I wouldn't do it. Other people, maybe it works well for them all the time. But for me, I've had literally no subject to, no nothing, doing loan modifications. And next thing I know, they go, we're not doing, I have paperwork. They sent loan modification, sends it back. Next thing I know, I get another piece of paper talking about, oh, well, we're not going to do the loan modification. Now, mind you, the house is worth like, I don't know, 100,000 less or something. We're not going to do the loan modification. In fact, we're going to sell the house for like 40 G's less than what it's worth now, something like that. It was crazy. So I said, oh, cool. So I call them up. I'm like, good. So you're going to redo my loan at this? They said, no, 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 not for you. And like I said, when the people showed up at my house, when I was moving out, the day that they were going to be moving in, that's when I started talking to them, thinking they actually bought the house. That's when they said, oh no, we work with like the banks. We're going to live here for 2 years and then we're going to fix up the house and then we're going to sell it. So then that's when I learned about some other stuff going on in the real estate game. I was like, so these mortgage companies, these banks, these guys are actually doing all this other crazy. So when there's a crisis like 2008, these guys were actually getting their own people to actually go buy the house at a lower price, knowing it was below the actual real value, fixing it up and selling it for more, but they had a 2-year contract. That's what they told me because the people are innocent. They're just like, oh, yeah, yeah, we deal with the bank. They told us we just moved from Utah. I can't remember. I think that's where they were from. We lived over there for another time for another deal we got with them for 2. So apparently they had some internal people that they're giving them a deal. You go here. We're going to sell it lower. You fix it up. 2 years from now, you'll be able to sell it for X amount, probably way more than just the difference of the 40 G's. So you get to keep some of the profit and we get to keep some of it. I couldn't believe it because these people were like, not even, they were just innocent. They weren't even, they were just like, yeah, man, we moved from Utah. We just did it. This is what we do. We have a deal with this bank or whatever it was, mortgage company. I was like, what the frick? And then my friend, one of my friends had a modification. His modification, it comes to the house. I'm at his house when FedEx shows up. And he's like, oh, great. They're finally going to do my modification. So he starts doing his modification paperwork. 2 months later, a guy shows up and says, I work for the bank. I'm a realtor for the bank in Sacramento. He says, yeah, the bank's going to take the house. I'm like, what do you mean? My friend just got the modification papers like last week. I'm like, what is going on? The bank literally signed a fake deed to steal the house or the mortgage company because I can't remember if it was a bank or mortgage company. I was like, this can't be happening because my friend was like, because I told him, I said, hey, man, I went by your house. This dude came up and he left a card. He was leaving a card at your door. That's when I knew you probably weren't home if he was ringing the doorbell. And so I called him up and said, this realtor dude showed up because I knew he had a modification. And the realtor dude said on his note, well, I can help you move. And I was like, this is a weird note. So I called my friend up, man. Hey, this dude called. He's talking about he can help you move. What's going on? I thought you were doing a modification. He's like, I am. I said, well, apparently somebody got their wires crossed. Banks were forging documents. Crazy stuff. Oh, yeah, you can Google that too. Crazy stuff. Everything I'm telling you, this is why you don't know where you live. You don't know what the hell's going on in America. There's so much shady stuff, and all these guys are rich dudes that's doing this. They own these mortgage companies. They own these banks, all these millionaires, multimillionaires, and billionaires. They own this stuff, and they got their little minions doing dirty shit. It's ridiculous. Anyhow, this is why I have the channel Stop Struggling Now to help you guys, ladies and gentlemen. Um, yeah, that subleasing, that also back in the day used to be a no-no. You can't get a primary resident and then they find out you're renting it out like a commercial property. That would get people triggered back then too. See, they've been more lenient over time, but back in the day, the banks, the mortgage companies, they didn't play. They would take your stuff if you violated the mortgage agreement. They didn't even play. And then they went to straight on full fraud in 2008, 9, and 10, where they just went straight. They're signing people's foreclosures, signing titles and transferring titles without people signing them. All kind of stuff was going down. And of course, the United States government, again, their rich friends, they let most of it slide. It's funny. Not protecting you guys out here. They're protecting their own rich buddy friends. All right. New year, new plans, the year of your financial life, how to get ready. We talked about subject 2. By the way, we got to talk about Larimar. Not Larimar, sorry. Dominican Republic. I can't really tell what it is. They're not giving me the numbers. I mean, I have the numbers, but I don't think this is right. Here's the number: 960,000 air arrivals in a single month. The highest monthly figure ever recorded. Did you guys not hear me say this on Wednesday and Monday? They were going to have a record for this month. I did think it was going to be 1 million plus. Okay. This represents a growth of more than 10% year over year. So when they said 960,000, these guys don't know who they're talking to out here. So I need a number. And you know what? We can just go to tourism analytics and I can actually go look up every country under tourismanalytics.com and you can actually go see the statistics. So when they're giving me a statistic, the second day of the month, these guys usually wait for 3-4 weeks. Now they're doing it on the second day of the month, and that's because they have something good to say. 960, which would then mean in order for us to have 10% more, last year would have to be around 910, which is pretty good, or 900 or 890, somewhere in there. But now we're going to be able to figure out, speaking of real estate, you need property, real estate, or business outside of the United States that is not a territory of the United States. You need a bank account. Also, ladies and gentlemen, outside of the United States, if you want to do something with crypto, I'm about to give you the crypto Visa debit card link so you can get one of those so you can send your crypto to there that's not inside the United States as well. All right. So we'll get to that shortly. But this is how you're protecting yourself. So I'm going to go to the Dominican Republic. I'm going to go look up what was last year. So anyhow, if this number is correct, that would mean, just so everybody can get a preview, 788,975. They rounded it to 960. So I don't even know if that's the correct number, but plus 960,000. That, oh, wait, what is that? Oh, hold on a second. I blew it. I didn't put in the whole mills. 7.8, 7,883,975 plus 960,000. Well, now we know the real number. I figured 8.9 to 9.1. So they end up getting 8.843975 roughly. 8.8, and I'll round up 50. 8.850. 8,850,000. Just so everybody knows, 2024, there was 8.5 million. So they only got roughly 300,000 more than last year. That's it. If that's the number. Now, let me go see if they still have up last year's numbers. They should, because I'm going to have 2024s. 2024 was 8,535,701. So they're roughly going to have an additional 300,000. That's it. You divide that by 12. 300,000 divided by 12 is 25,000 per month. And you divide each month by 4. That is only 6,250 more per month. That's it. You've added more hotel rooms. So that means you have a deficit on top of a deficit. And the 6,250, that's each single person. That does not include how many people actually are coming together, which I always use 2. So really, the number is 3,150 per week additional people. That's it. And again, we don't know if it's actually 2. It could be higher than 2, but I just use 2 because I know everybody's not solo. So either it's going to be 1.8 or 2.5 or more. But either way, we're in the ballpark. And also last year, that is correct. They had 884,000 in the month of December. So there you go. That's 10% more. 960. But that doesn't mean anything. So there we go. I'll be doing a video tomorrow about it. All right. Let's go. Okay. Did you like all those emails from the other day? No, no, and no. All them emails do is get me upset, man. I just got to say what it is. It gets me upset because it's like Americans are out here working their asses off, trying to survive, and their government's working against their survival. Because if you don't have enough money to buy the appropriate foods and take care of your health, then you're going to have a problem because you're going with the less expensive items, which are less healthier, have more chemicals potentially, or it's just so bad. And then a person can't afford health care. So then all of a sudden now they don't go get their appointments. They don't, now you're jeopardizing people's health by not having health care that's affordable. It's like, it's just bad. There's an assault. You have children. They're like 5. They say everybody should have children, and then you have 2 or 3 children, but now they're 8, 10, 5. And then the next thing you know, you're like, oh man, I gotta work. We both, mother and father, have to work, but where are we gonna keep our kids? And then the next thing you know, you're sitting there. I'm going to go to the emails right now. Then you're sitting there and you're saying, hey, um, I gotta have them in daycare. And then daycare is going, thank you. You're right. You need them in daycare. But if you need all 3 of them in daycare, it's going to cost you $300 a week, $500 a week. I mean, it's all over the map. So that's a problem. And, oh, man, I forgot they send that up for me, right? Oh, I can't approve that. God dog it. Or can I? Let's see if I can approve this real quick. Maybe. Oh, yeah, we can. Cool. Okay. So that's where the problem comes in. So food costs more for the kids and you're get a job, but now you have to be paying, another 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 for childcare if needed on top. So then people say, well, then if it's going to cost me 2 G's a month or 1,500 a month, then I might as well just stay home. But then you don't make enough for one person to work. It starts adding up. There's just all of this is adding up for you, the OCs, and you guys have to be aware of this. This is not going backwards. This is only going up. Everything you're doing is going to cost more. The government has to print more money, which causes inflation. So this is why you have to think about what you're going to do out here. Here we go, Eric. We're filling up quick with spring break bookings. People are traveling like crazy again. You should be doing good also. No, man. No, I'm not doing great at all. I'm in tourism destinations. I'm not in I mean, I do have stuff in Orlando. I don't generally care about Orlando because it's a unique situation. Margaritaville, Windabonnet Creek, which is on the property. There's certain properties that do a high volume, but me, I have stuff like Westgate Lakes, Westgate Town Center, Holiday Inn with the water park, and all. Well, Town Center has a water park too. But the point is, you know, right next to Disney's Holiday Inn. I got a lot of stuff, but I don't have people beating down my door. So, not happening. But again, you're in a Margaritaville is different than like any of those I just mentioned. It's a little bit upper end and it has everything right there. Remember, my stuff does have stuff. It has restaurants, it has bar, it has workout, it has pools, it has shopping, it has movie stuff. It's got stuff, but it doesn't have the margarita branding. So, um, so people are willing to pay twice as much to stay at your place than they are in my 2 bedroom. But you have a cottage though. But yeah, I'm not doing that great. I'm not getting anything special happening. The pipeline, and again, I gotta explain to people. This is why investing in Margaritaville is a good thing. For instance, there's other like all of the all inclusives. If they gave you an opportunity to invest in their properties, there's more to it just than what you see. These guys all have travel clubs within. So a person can go stay at the all inclusive, but then you have your own travel club. What that does is that means the occupancy rate for your property goes higher because each time they sign up another person from around the world to join their, we're going to just pay us $25,000 and for 5 years you have 20 nights a year at any of these properties. So now these people go, yeah, we want to go to Orlando. What's over there? Oh yeah, the Margaritaville Orlando. So they get a booking from all these people because they want to go to Orlando. They're in the club. That is the advantage that people don't understand with these all inclusives. So even if all inclusives have a down occupancy, they have another pipeline of where they make a lot of money because they have their own in-house travel clubs. So you can go to our Malia in Dominican Republic, or you can go to our Malia in Mexico, or you can go to wherever other Malia they have if you're in their club. So when people say, oh, I get my things booked up. Now, if you're not within the proper one, they've got several sections to a club. They'll say you have premium club, then they'll have another tier down. You can be another tier down, and then they say, I want to go to Margaritaville. They say, okay, you got to pay an extra, whatever, $1,000 or $800 or $500 or whatever. So they have money always coming in to book themselves in house because these people are paying 25, 35, 40 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand to be able to go to any of these properties. So then they can turn around for owners like post retirement travel. I'm just using an example. I'm sure Margaritaville has theirs, just like all the rest of them. And so they get to say, oh, yeah, it's $550 per night. But they've already paid in advance the 100 grand, the 50 grand, the 75 grand. So to them, but they pay post retirement travel and everybody else that owns at Margaritaville. They're like, here's your 550 a night. Here's your 3,500 for the week, let's say. So it goes, so they do things differently. Now, let's go back to my stuff, which are timeshare condo hotels. They actually work against the owners because what they do is they keep inventory allegedly and then they rent it out on the open market. So basically, it's more like What they do is, if I was Margaritaville and I said, oh, your unit, we didn't rent your unit, we rented somebody else's unit. It's like, what do you mean? You guys were sold out. Yeah, but the person only stayed 2 or 3 nights in your unit. And you're like, what? What are you talking about? It's like Christmas. Who would stay 2 or 3 nights during Christmas? Yeah, and so the other 2 or 3 nights it was empty, and you have no way to check it. That's what the timeshare guys do when they say, "Oh, we'll rent it out for you," right? Margaritaville's like they're high end. They're like, we're not going to mess off our guys that invested in our properties. We're going to make sure that they get money because then they're going to want to stay with us and pay whatever. When we say our HOAs go up, they're going to stay because they're getting paid. The mentality of a timeshare condo hotel is different. They get management fees regardless of performance. So they're like, we'll just charge an arm and a leg. We'll keep the actual rental. We'll tell the owners we only rented 2 or 3 nights. No way to track it. And they take the one units that they say are theirs, because remember, they oftentimes control the homeowners, and they take that and they siphon off money. So they go, oh, we got management fees, we got HOA fees. And so that's how they do it in the timeshare. Margaritaville's different. So it doesn't surprise me that you have a different situation going on. The new park from Universal called Epic Universal is bringing in huge crowds. We're hoping to ride that one for a few years. Disney is also bringing new things to compete. They have to. Yep. And quite frankly, that's where we're going. There's going to be less people. And so therefore, you have to be the one to attract more of the less people in order to survive. That's why they just hit a space race. So Universal and Disney are going to be the two that's going to have to up their games because each one of those are going, well, in fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this. Visitors to Disney World properties in 2025 versus Universal. I wonder if I can figure it out. If it says, here we go. 2025 are estimates. Disney World generally leads in overall visitors, but Universal Orlando's attendance surged significantly in 2025 due to its new Epic Universe Park that post-retirement travel is talking about, aiming for 25 to 30 million annual visitors. While Disney's domestic attendance saw slight dips after years of high numbers through its Magic Kingdom remains the world's top park. So there you go. See, those two guys are in a race. There's 25 to 30 million visitors went to Universal Orlando. That is crazy. And Disney, 50 million. That means there's 80 million tourists up for grabs at least every year. So now you understand why both of these parks are like, they're in a tug of war. So they had to come out with that Epic to boost so they're hoping they can siphon off some of those 50 million. And instead of having 25 to 30, they're trying to get up to 40, 45. They'll be happy with the split. If each of them got like 40 million each, they would be good. But that's what we're talking about. That's what they're doing. And they're doing that rightfully so. They're smart people. I feel they're very smart because that would be what I would be thinking. I'd be thinking like, hey, um, we can't go backwards. Like if Disney gets 50 million, we get 25 to 30. It's going to catastrophic if we get down to 20. So we better come up with a new park that's going to be off the charts because we need to siphon off some of their numbers. We can't be going backwards. And they did it. That makes sense. And then what's Disney going to do? They saw a decline, but it's 1% or so. But what they're going to do is they're going to say, okay, man, what's this Epic Universe Park? What's happening? We're going to have to come up with something a little more refresh. And don't be confused. Disney has a lot of land that's unused that used to be used as part of the Disney World Park. They have stuff sitting that they haven't used in 25, 30 years. And so they have more land that they can do serious stuff with. They got like little islands there surrounded by water. They got hotels that are empty. I mean, they got so much land. I don't even know how they got it all. It's crazy. It's crazy. By the way, some of you guys always like to get a little history. When I was a little kid, I went to Disney. In fact, I was at Disney World. I told this story before. I was at Disney World when it first opened. Day two, I believe, or day one. I can't really remember. I was a little kid. Day one, day two, whatever it was. A friend of ours that was in the military, they moved to Titusville, and then they retired, and then apparently lived in Orlando. And they were the wife worked for Disney, so she says, "We got tickets for you guys." It was I think first or second day it opened. So all I can tell you is I remember driving to Disney World, and I remember seeing a field of what looked like trees that were burnt down. But it was probably dead trees. But what I didn't realize was it was sand instead of ash. Later, I think it was sand because the sand isn't dark, like dark brown. It's looked white. So I thought as a kid, I was like, damn, why'd they burn down all of this stuff? It was like acres, tons of bare land off the freeway. So that must have been four. All right. And so now when we get off of 192 was the main thing. All the hotels was on 192 coming up. So we hit four. We're driving around, hit that 192, coming to this entrance. The entrance was like, it seemed like a mile. When we got off I guess it was 192. I can only guess now that I know how it's configured. We drove in, and it was like, I thought you get excited as a kid, the park, right? You don't see nothing. It's like dirt and dead trees all over is what it looked like. And you're looking like a kid. Where's the park at? What the heck? We're still driving. Half a mile, seemingly a mile. I was like the little kid. Are we there yet? Because we got off the entrance back here that said Disney World. Nah, it took forever. Seemingly, we get up there, and then it was just like Disneyland. It's like I was a kid, right? Disneyland, been to Disneyland first. So then when I get there, it was almost like, well, it was fun because you get to the park, it was spread out, bigger, wider than Disneyland. But the funny part is I'm going to the Pirates of the Caribbean. Where is it? But then we got there, and I was like, oh, the same footprint. So then we knew where all the rides were. We didn't even have to look at the map. I was like, oh, but it was just further away. And that was the original park with the little monorail and all that stuff, just like Disneyland. It was funny as hell. So to see it expand how it has is wild. It's wild. Number one things was a racetrack, bumper cars, Pirates of the Caribbean. But I think the Pirates of the Caribbean at the Disney World wasn't even operational, or it was different. It wasn't like the one in Cali. So that was a bummer. Then they had the island. They had a bunch of stuff. There was some things that were different. A few things, but for the most part, it was designed so similar. So we knew where everything was because we've been to Disneyland a few times, and you know the best rides, so you know where everything was. So it was fun as hell. And now to see it what it is now, it's like, sheesh, how did these guys get all this land? It's crazy, just insane. But there was nothing out there. Okay, we're going to wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to be on here all night. We got story night a little bit. I told you a little bit about the old days, good days, but we need you guys to understand. We need you with a credit card, right? I gotta always say this: on Tuesday of next week, I should have my card. Um, not sometime in the next 10 days. I'll be where my card is, and I'll be getting my mail, and the crypto Visa debit card will be there, and it's going to be plastic with a tap feature on it, and it's called Bancus. So here you go, ladies and gentlemen. I suggest this is outside the United States control. No name on the card. Don't lose it. Well, they won't know your PIN number, but nonetheless, um, don't, you can download crypto to the card outside of the U.S. So I'll give people my program of trading, uploading crypto using my CoinEx account outside the United States. I take my profit, I download it to my card, use the Visa card. The only problem is I got a problem with it, kind of, is it's 4%. So to use when you upload or reload, whatever you want to call it, when you load the money up to your card or download it from your account, it's going to be 4%. That starts being, 1,000 is $40, right? So that's the only thing. And I guess for the price of freedom, I'll do it. But I just like the opportunity, the option of sending money to the card. All right. So that's how we do it. And that's why I recommend this card. All right. The crypto debit card. Let me see if I have it. That was Unstoppable Domains. Why did that happen? That wasn't the crypto card. The Bancus. It's a Bancus card. Oh, that's what I did. Okay. It's a Bancus card. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Let me put this in here. They have a Zoom call on Tuesdays and Thursdays next week, 2 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern. They have promotions all the time. They explain how you can actually make money from this. Obviously, if you refer somebody, that's why there's a referral link. You make money on uploads. You get like 1% or something. So that's worthy. And then you can do network marketing, so to speak. It's only 3 levels. But the point is, you refer some people and study Bitcoin chart. Yeah, I was looking at the chart actually, which is very interesting. I was looking at it because I was actually going to enter into some trades on it because it's volatile lately and very volatile again today. I was actually looking at it. So I was like, you know what? I think I might want to enter into this too. It's not the contest that I'm referring to, but the actual chart. I agree with you 110%. I've been studying it because I like the volatility. I was like, volatility means money to me. That's the way I look at it. So get your crypto Visa debit card. I did a video just the other day. You guys can see I have videos from people using it. I have videos on there that show the actual offices in Mexico City. So it's already out. It's been out. They've already sent out like over 50,000 cards. So it's all over the world already. The one video I showed, the guys at the ATM in Jamaica, and I showed some pictures of people in the US at 7-Eleven and Publix using the card at the ATM machines and at the point of sale machines and showing receipts, people showing it when they get it in the mail, all kind of different people. They have it in America now, around the world. It takes, I think mine has been sent out because when I signed up in the Bancus app, they tell you, they give you a message saying, we'll let you know when you send the card. I didn't get any message they sent the card. All I did was when I went there, that message was gone. So that means they probably sent it. So how long does it take from Mexico City to the US? I don't know. Probably a week. But it was done like 3 or 4 days ago, December 30th. So today's the second, so that's 4. So like I said, I should have it by Friday. Friday next week. I would expect to have it in my hands. So I should have one of those cards. Don't really trade it. It's good to test your strategy when the market isn't open. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I was looking at it. Yeah, the only thing MDA 0214 is I don't like knowing already because it's like different. You could go, well, I would have done this, I would have done that. It's like I like to actually do it when it's actually live, which in fact, now that you mentioned that CoinEx broker, it doesn't do 24-hour on Bitcoin. All right, the BTC USD, it's not 24 hours. So, but again, I really like to see things live. I don't like to practice with anything that's like, because you have different formulation when you see it after the fact. After the fact, you take things too cavalier, I believe. That's what I think. I don't. I look at it and I'm be like, well, when it went down, when it started doing something, what would I have done? It's kind of like, but would I? I don't know if I would have done it in real time if I would have behaved like I see after the fact. After the fact makes it so much easier. So that's why I like doing it live. But good points, especially if you have a broker that does replay. Because then you could actually do back, you can do, and actually this broker has it too. You can do testing and strategy and all that. So I could probably do it, which makes it a lot better. But I actually already saw the chart, so I know what happened today. And I also saw the chart and I was like, oh man, this is bad because it went up early morning and then it just dropped for like an hour. And it was like a nice little profitable situation. So, yeah, I know Bitcoin runs 24-hour, but the broker doesn't run it 24 hours. That's what I was trying to say. You can't make trades, but you can dry trade. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. That is true. But I wasn't really trying to concentrate on that. But yeah, I'm only 3 months in, man. Hey, MDA, since you're on here, let me ask you something. If a person knows nothing, such as myself, how long do you think it takes for them to be a profitable trader? And I'm not talking about, okay, we won a few trades, we got a few I mean, actually for long, because once you start, now you get longer time frame into it. But how long do you think it takes for a person to be profitable consistently? Because like I say, I've been, I study stuff backward, forwards. You can only study for so long, right? As you get older. Um, let's see. Just use a pen and pad, write down the trades. Hmm. Okay. But if somebody's starting out, because again, I'm advocating for people to learn how to trade, really, because that eliminates the fear of if you lost your job. Not everybody is good at being their own boss. A lot of people like to have a job where they feel like, what my dad's one of them, when he would say, uh, I like knowing that I have a check coming in. But see, he's in a different era when people did work at a place for 25 years and 30 years and you had a job and you got an increase in your wages and that, and you have a pension. That is the era, that 50, 60, 70, 80 era. Now, the odds of somebody working for 25 years at the same company, I don't even know what the odds of that is. You know what? We have AI in Google. I want to know. Let's go see. Okay, what's the odds? Hold on. Let's go look this up. I'm curious. What's the odds of a person in the USA working the same job for 25? Oh, and by the way, 25 years doesn't even get you to retirement. But nonetheless, let's go see. Let's see what the odds are. Working at the same job for 25 years in the USA is relatively uncommon overall, but the odds significantly increase with the person's age and type of employment. Oh, wow. As of January 2024, only 10.1% of all U.S. wage and salary workers had been with their current employer for 20 years or more. Didn't say no more. This is what I was anticipating, but I didn't think it was that low of a number. Holy smokes. Wow. Get this. The current median employee tenure across all U.S. workers is only 3.9 years. Woo! Well, then, ladies and gentlemen, the numbers aren't lying. So this is even more imperative. Holy smokes. 3.9 years is the average. This is what I'm afraid of. I think this is what we're dealing with out here, or you guys are dealing with out here. This is very, very bad. This is not your mom and grandfather's economy where you could sit there and be like, yeah, I'm going to have my pension at 20, 25 years and we're good. And no, them days are over. Less jobs, less livable wage jobs. We're in a declining empire, by the way. You guys didn't get the word yet. China's on the rise. They are America in 1950. Manufacturing, cheap, that's where people are going. Just like America, 1940s, 1950s. And slavery also for 100 and plus years, 200 years. So they were cheap, not no more. Now everybody goes to China. China gets to rise like the empire. They are. And it's going to get hectic out here. But geez, that's bad. 10% in 2024? That's it? 10, that's like 30, that's not even 35 million because we don't have 350 million people working. We only have like 180, somewhere between 185 and 165. So it's either 16 million or 18 million. You have more than that. You have double that amount on food assistance. Sheesh. All these bad things is more reasons why you should learn how to trade because the stock market's not going anywhere. This is how the rich guys, that's their casino. It's not going anywhere. Let's see. Everyone is different. I'm sure a lot learn faster. Some have beginner luck, then go in a slump. Depends on your strategy, how fast you master it, your discipline and patience. I agree. Like I said, I again, I just have a hard time because when I did poker, it was the perfect example. Discipline, patience, and everybody has their own style. So then you have to fit the style that makes you profitable. Just like in trading, everybody has their own personality, their own style. And you have your own pressure points. Because the number one thing that I was always saying before when people would be playing, I would say, I'm different than you. You're different than me. And they'd be like, what are you saying? Because people would be like, they're 18 years old, they're 20 years old, and they're like, I'm going to be a professional poker player. I'm like, okay, but first of all, do you gamble? Would be, I'd have certain questions. I'd be like, if you want to be a professional poker player, do you gamble, as in gamble in the casino? Depending on what they said, yes or no, I would say if they said yes, I'd be like, well, that's not a good thing if you're going to be in the casino playing poker. So you might have to change the way you think. So then the next move is, well, what do you do? Are you saving money? How do you money manage right now? Are you good with money management? No, I'm not. They're young guys, right? No, but again, you're good. You better learn because you cannot be playing this no limit hold'em game and bringing the bulk of your uh, bankroll to the table. Because if you have a bad day, bad run, and some people go on tilt because you're new, you'll go on tilt. When you should have left, you would have still played and started playing like, oh, and taking chances. All these things add up. So that I feel the same things apply to stock trading. So when you say these things, that's exactly what it does. It takes study, it takes learning, it takes discipline, it takes patience, and it has to fit your style and your pressure points. So when we're sitting at a table and I'm in a, let's call it a tournament, right? It doesn't matter if I'm in a tournament or cash game. So like when I go somewhere to play and I'm sponsored, my entry was paid and they gave me cash. So now when I go play cash tables, I'm not even playing with my own money. When I play in the tournament, I'm not playing with my own money. When I'm staying in the hotel ordering food, I'm not paying for it. So I'm in a whole different comfort level. Then the other guy that says, well, I paid the 5 grand to enter. I paid for the hotel. And every time I order a drink, I'm paying for it. Right. He's at a whole different level of pressure. He's sitting there going, well, if I don't cash, I don't get even back my 5 grand money. If you don't cash, you get zero. I don't cash, I didn't pay anything. This person doesn't cash. They spent 5 grand plus their hotel, plus the food, plus the drinks, and whatever else happened. Next thing you know, they're out 6, 7 grand. And they didn't cash. I don't cash and I'm out nothing. I just had a nice little vacation weekend. Difference. There's a huge difference, right? So that's why when you should listen to people when they say discipline and patience. You should listen, especially somebody that's been trading. Most will be able to build a dividend portfolio faster than they can be a profitable trader. Yeah, I believe that too. I believe that too because just what I'm describing, there's pressure points for every. I know people right now who trade and they actually and I they use prop firm trading. They've actually profitable 16 grand, 18 grand. So you're thinking, oh, this is easy money management, right? Can you believe these same people making 16 grand in a day are the same people who don't pay their mortgage? I'm just like, how does this even make sense? What are you doing? So you know what happens. I had a good day. They're not thinking money management. I had a good day, 16 grand. So they start gambling. Oh, well, since I have that, yeah, I could lose 3 or 4 grand. So let me re enter today. Instead of saying thank you and slicing the money where it needs to go, it's like, oh, well, man, I had a good day. I think I should do some more. They end up losing 8 grand of the 16. And then you're like, what do you mean you didn't pay your mortgage? What are you doing right now? I'm like, how does this even make sense? But not everybody's the same. Discipline with money management is, I feel, mandatory at the top of the list. I used to tell all the guys, they'd be like, Eric, man, what do you want to do? Because you guys have to understand. I used to have events, you know. Shout out to Kathy Raymond at the Venetian, who hosted one of my events. And I had some of the young guns come over there because they were at the time there was this absolute poker. And Mark Safe, who won 2 bracelets that year. Another kid that was 19, maybe. He came. He won a bracelet at 19. So we have a whole gamut of people in different age brackets. Safe was probably 30 at the time. But we had like 18-year-olds up to like 40 years old in there. Professional poker players and friends. And we have discussions because the kids are like, hey, man, what do you think we should do while we're sitting around drinking or whatever, eating? And I'm like, hey, I'd give you the rules, just like MDA's talking. I'd be like, look, you better do your bankroll number one. I had like a list of stuff. I'd be like, your bankroll, are you seriously studying? Because everybody's getting better. You have to continuously study and hone your skills. And money management, number one. That's it. You can't be out here gambling in the casino. None of this. You don't be TJ Cloutier, who wins $150,000. Next thing you know, he's playing craps over here with this whole $150,000. Because back in the day, they give you chips. No cash. They would give you the 150K in chips. So then he goes to the tables. Next thing you know, he lost all his money. Notoriously, year after year, the dude never changed. He ends up playing poker for a long time, but it's always like he borrowed to play, and the people would give it to him because he'd win tournaments. But it's crazy. He didn't even have to do that. There's also oh, Crazy Canuck. That the crazy Canuck is from Canada. I was hanging with him in Reno, and I'm in the World Poker Tour event, and so I see him up there, and I'm like, what are you doing here? You know, because I just saw him like in Vegas or something like a week or two before. I didn't expect him to be up there because it was a World Poker Tour event, but I just didn't think he was coming. And so I see him up there, and I'm like, "What are you doing up here?" I'm like, "Are you an attorney?" He's like, "No, but I will be." And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Oh, I'm looking for somebody to, sponsor me in the tourney." Now he's won some tourneys over his or cashed or whatever. He's won money, but the fact is that he was not sponsored, and he was sitting there going, "Well, I just somebody will, give me some money to play." I was like, "This dude been playing for like 15, 20 years." And he doesn't even have his money management under. So that's why I always told the young guys, I'd say money management is number one. Do not be a gambler. Those are the key things. If you're a gambler, then you need to stop right now, or you have to pick one or the other. You can't be both. So, and then now we're in an era where people stake people, and you can actually get pieces of people. Like my friend, the World Series of Poker champ 2012 or 2013, I don't remember, maybe 2009. I don't remember. Greg Raymer, he just posted something up today. He takes 50, I think it's 50% every year. People can stake. He gives up 50% of his winnings, and he gives a list of the tournaments he's going to play. And it's a business, right? Remember that it's a business. So you can get a write off because you're an investor, right? That's you're investing. And then if you get nothing back, and if you do get something back, then that's profit. So treats it as a business. He gets people to stake every year, and he usually only has a few positions left because he wins every year. He's very good. And he does money management, obviously, because he's given up, I think it's 50%. I got to check it out again. But those are the type of things that's crazy, right? YouTuber Warrior Trading made over 20 million day trading, but it's still some years his stock portfolio make more than he do trading. Trading isn't guaranteed. That is true. That's why we talk about stock market first, because you got to be in the stock market. You have to be. This is now a new year, new plan. It's mandatory. You need to be in the stocks. You have to be with the big boys. And then icing on the cake is if you can actually learn how to survive, because apparently, if only 10% of workers right now in America get a 20-year span of the same job, and now it's talking about the average time frame is 3.9 years, it's 4 years, and people are switching jobs, there may not be a job you can switch to the way things are going right now. We don't have manufacturing facilities. We lost like 100,000 manufacturing jobs in 2025. Those are well paying jobs traditionally. Used to be union. If you start missing production jobs that pay a livable wage, and you get left over is part-time or non-livable wages as replacement, you can see where this is going. Again, you live in a third world country, you just don't know it yet. One thing you do know, stock market's not going to change. You have to invest in it, whether it's you personally doing trading and stock trading, but you should have stocks. You have no options. Zero options, in my opinion. Zero. Zero options. Zero. I would say go to Desire to Trade and watch a few videos just to listen to older traders and hear their perspective. Is that a thing? Is it? Hold on a second. Let me go check. Did you say Desire to Trade? I'll go check it out. I don't mind, because I am in no position as a seasoned trader. I'm not a seasoned trader. I've only started 3 months ago, about that time frame. So I'm still learning everything I can learn. So I want to hear from these guys. Is that what it's called? Desire to Trade? Oh, there is something. Desire to Trade podcast. And there's some name too. Guy named John, somebody was on here. Desire to Trade podcast. Okay. Um, okay, there's some dude named John Carisco. Yeah, speaking of that, this is what came up. Remember when I started doing that trading championship thing? There was a guy named oh geez, I can't remember the guy's name. Anyhow, the guy that was on that list, Peter Neal, a guy goes, I'm the come to find out he's the mentor to that guy that won like 2 years in a row for one of those World Cup things, the Forex one. And I was like, who's this Peter Neal dude? I never heard of him. And that's when I started going down this path about, okay, Peter Neal, I don't never heard. Well, why would I hear of traders, right? They're not on TV or nothing, so you're not going to know who they are. So um, that's when I was like, well, wait a minute. This one guy is actually showing people what to do. And I was like, but he's doing pretty good because he just made like he showed live trading. See, that's the thing, showing charts and doing all this stuff. And I was like, where's he getting these charts from? Come to find out, they're specialty charts. And I was like, oh man, okay, there's levels to this. They got the best of the best stuff that gives them information like now. They can act upon it. So that's when I was like, who are these guys? What's happening? One guy's a mentor. He showed it. He made like 2,300 in like 30 minutes. Um, and the funny part about it was he had one like bad trade, and that's why it was 2,300 because it was a marginal. I mean, the downside one was no more than $300 or something, but still. So you can't win them all like that. But for the day in the 30 minutes, it was 2,300 profit. Most people can live with that in less than 30 minutes, right? 30 minutes or less. Um, so that was cool. And then he said, find out that, yeah, I do something with this dude, Peter Neal. And I was like, who are these people? Let me go find out. Then I find out this other guy who has worldclassedge.com. And now all of a sudden I see, oh, these guys work together. And then that's when I find out about this World Cup trading thing. And I was like, what? Wait, what? What's happening here? And they put their organization together to help people, which is pretty cool because their videos are pretty good. Okay, there we go. Yes, Desire to Trade. I stay on there. Love listening to all the older trade. Yeah, see, very good. Thank you, MDA0214. You just gave everybody else something to look at too if they wanted to start trading, because that's one of the keys right there. You need to talk to the older guys. Years of trading matters, just like years of playing poker matters, because you have a different mindset than the newer guys. Just like I said, the newer guys all of a sudden start talking about poker theory and stuff like this. And they started, can you imagine playing poker based on odds, right? Like it is based on odds. Like, you know, that the chance of another person beating your hand is potentially 25%, right? You know your range, so to speak. So can you imagine throwing that out of the window and people go, I'm holding, let's say, ace nine. And now you go, well, they don't care what they're they go, okay, I know the ace is going to come up like 30% of the time. I can live with that. They're doing it from a whole, like, this hand wins 30% of the time. So that's how they're playing it. They're not even playing like the older guys play. They're doing something totally different. And that's why it was very hard for the older players to play with the newer kids. Like myself, I was aggressive. So now all of a sudden, all the young guys were more aggressive than me. They were just like died. Like, we play no limit, right? So they would rather go, okay, I can win 35% of the time all in with garbage. And meanwhile, you're sitting there like, well, you got like, let's say Jack Jack or Queen Queen. And you're just like, how's this guy going all in on me when the board doesn't indicate? You just have to figure out all this stuff. They're not doing that. They're just like, this one's 35% of the time. Okay, fine. And they'll lose all their money. They don't care because they have a whole nother ecosystem going on. They're friends. They live in the same building, live in the same Five Guys play, and they pool their money together. You never know what's going on these days. So it's crazy out here. So both Johns are good to listen to, and it's a lady named Sunny Harris who've been trading since I believe, wow, 1976. That's cool. You should always talk to the older people. Always, always. Because their perspectives are going to be different than yours, and they're seasoned. They've seen all type of markets. Back when it was a whole different market 30 years ago. They can tell you, like that 1976, she can tell you what happened on Black Friday 1989. You know what I mean? She can tell you what happened under from 76 to 80 under Carter. You know, I mean, she can tell you, thank God that Reagan came in and did tax cuts and tax breaks in 1980. The stock market went crazy in 81. You know, all that stuff, right? But they've seen it all. So now they know signs, they know information. So I'm going to be checking them out too, man. So thank you so much for that. And that's how you get better. So the crypto credit card, did we get to that yet? I think I put it in the chat room. I gave you the CoinX because they do have a demo. And the demo, they give you can put in whatever amount you need for demo so you can test and you can actually play along. MDA0214 has a different point of view than me. I think, you should actually learn because again, I knew nothing about it. I have to learn how to move around to make the screen smaller, shorter, move back around, bring on the lines. And I'm using MetaTrader 4 though. It's different than TradingView. Now I got to learn TradingView if I want to be in the competition. So now I'm going to do that. But the point is, um, you always have to learn if you can get information from somewhere. That's the best thing you can do. Some of them trade live. John got a YouTube page as well. That's cool, man. I'm going to be checking them out. Day Trading Radio, I believe. Okay. Well, hey, thanks for the info. That's very, very helpful for anybody because I'm advocating that a person learns other skills. Even if you have your own business, that is very hard because you need customers. Along with everybody else that has a business needs customers. You have to keep finding customers. How are you going to find them? There's social media, yes, but now social media, you pay to play to move up. So all those things come into play. And if you're limited funds, if you have limited funds, then it's going to be very hard for you to compete against other people that's able to run ads indefinitely if you have similar products. And you got to remember when you're on these platforms like Amazon or Etsy or whatever other ones, these people have to be credible. They have to be good to you. Amazon, we know for a fact, if your product is on the front page selling, they will figure out who supplies you. Then they would turn around and get the product labeled under their name and then put their product on the front page and move you to oblivion. They do that. Or they allow other people to pay them a fee so they can be on the front page of whatever items that you may be involved with that matches someone else's. This is the type of thing that they're doing out here. Just like Google. When they first started out, it was Google. It was like all these social, all the search engines was fair. You could get to the first page if you did this and that and the other on your web pages. So you had to outdo somebody with your web designs. Then it turned into, oh, no, we can't compete with that. Why do we want to waste all our time? That's what the rich guys are saying. They said, well, why can't we just give you some money so then put us on the front page? Then Google's like, oh, wait. And Yahoo and all the rest, they're like, oh, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. That way we don't even have to, we'll just get money up front. Yeah, we'll put you on the front page. Forget the search engine stuff. Forget the organic. We'll just let people pay now. Too bad, so sad. It doesn't matter. So all of that, just like right now, it delves into social media, Instagram, Facebook, and all the other platforms. They have their ads. Remember at one time they didn't have the ads. Now you notice how many ads they have. Scrolling through a page or your page, your timelines, ad. Somebody else's stuff, then an ad. Those people paid. They said, fine, we'll take the money. So again, this is what happens over time. So that's why when you have a business, it kind of very, very hard to compete if you don't have to continually upgrade it. And that's why I'm talking about stock trading, but you also need to actually have some investments that create passive income. So I'm about to get out of here. It's been a great talk on this first financial Friday night live stream in 2026. I want to thank everybody for being here. I love you guys very much, and I appreciate your support over all these years. Like I said, this type of gear is at stopstrugglingnow.com. This right here is a Miami Heat. Together we are unstoppable. That's what I like to talk about here. SSN Nation, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we're trying to do. Help you compete out here, and you're going to need skill sets. So when I start talking about the other side of the coin, about the irrevocable trust, protecting your assets because you live in a litigious United States, you should consider, I believe, in an irrevocable trust. But it is dicey because once you put your item in there, it's not retrievable, and you have a trustee that is supposed to do what your trust says. And I use the word suppose because there's often times wherever there's money, wherever there's assets, trustees do something crazy. So if you want to trust, the grantor of the trust needs to be not you. All right. You need to be the trustee of assets that go into your trust. All right. Now, liability, not in your name, it's in the trust name, just so you know. So if any lawsuits come, you're not involved. They can't take anything from you. Beneficiaries, you protect them because when you write up your trust, just go to Chat GPT, start messing around, asking about trust for your state and your state and making sure it agrees with federal and state laws. Start messing around, asking questions. You'll see stuff will come up. Say, do you have any recommendations? They'll give recommendations for what you're trying to do. You tell it what you're doing. And then you go see a planner and see, because that'll cost you less. And that's how you can form one and not have to pay 10, 15 G's. All right. Word trading is good as well. He give great information, especially have no experience as far as candle setups he likes. I like that. That's good. Um, Hold on a second. Let me do something since you mentioned this. Since you mentioned this, let me get this right here. Let me get this right here. Okay. You said warrior trading. Let me go see who this is. Yeah, I don't mind looking because I have already my formulated plan on what I'm generally going to do that I'm sure I'm doing. But if there's something else, because there's always something else, we got to learn. Uh, is it called warrior trading? No. Okay, there's something called Ross Cameron warrior trading. Is that who you're talking about? Yeah, it looks like uh, there's a dude named Ross Cameron that says warrior trading. So that may be who you're referring to. He's the only one coming up for warrior trading. Yeah, day trading morning show. Looks like it. Looks like he's doing live trading. Quitting the 9 to 5 job in 3 years, starting from zero. Okay, looks like the dude's doing something. So yeah, there's plenty of people out here with these, but thank you so much because that was the whole thing. When I used to search around, I'd see people talking and there would be a screen and then you would just see stuff moving around, marks on the screen. That was the worst thing ever because they would use terminology like I know what they're talking about. I'd be like, I don't even know what this means, what he's saying. Some of these things when they would say, yeah, this trading conversation, I'm sitting there like, man, I don't, this isn't even, how can I learn? Because I don't even know the conversation. Okay. I believe he have a training psychologist for his students. Yeah, that right there, again, because I see this just like gambling. Like I see this where people are like, I lost. Let's say you lose or win. It doesn't matter which side of the spectrum you're on. You're like sitting there like, I lost, I want to win it back, or I won and I did great. I want to jump back in because I won before. When you should just relax. But that is major because the mindset is the money and mind is very, very powerful. And especially if you're afraid. I have friends of mine that trade and they've been trading for like 8, 9, 10 years. Bought courses, went to retreat stuff, and successful. And now acting like because they don't have the same amount of money because they were throwing money out the window, just literally everything. Oh, I'm flying here. I'm taking the grandkids. They got to go. The kids, they got to go over here with the grandkids and go here. And I'm paying for everybody's hotel and airfare and all this, making all this money. Then when there was a downfall, now all of a sudden money's tighter. Now all of a sudden the trading is different because they're worried about, oh, if this money now means more than it did before. Before it was water. Now it's not water. It's like, oh man, I got it, things are tight. I can't lose this money. And so they trade accordingly, which is not successful. That gives you that's a problem. Let's see. Yes, Ross is the most credible YouTuber trader. He show his P&L. That is beautiful. You can see him trade live and make 500K in one day, then see him lose 200K. Hey, but he's got the bankroll for it. That right there is cool. See, that's the other thing that I didn't like is that people would show, oh, I do this, I win, I'm successful in this, and then I'd be like, okay, well then show the account. You're on the page, show the account history or something. Nobody would ever do it. Most people wouldn't. So then again, I was like, how can I take this seriously? That's the thing. I was like, how can I take this seriously? And so, and you know what's even funnier, which I can't even believe doesn't exist, is that when we used to play online poker, right? So if you have like you're sitting at the table, you see a person's name, that's a username. There's a database for the username. So all you had to do on if you're on the same web on the same poker room online, all you had to do was go up, punch in the person's name, it gives you their history. You can actually see hands that they were playing before, not at this same table, but their style of play. If you're really serious, you can get into it. And now you can see their win rate. You can see all this stuff. I wish it was like that. That would be so cool, right? But that's what they used to have in the poker rooms. And they used to have trackers outside of that. And so, like what he's doing right now is it's a database too. The database would extend. So if I knew his name, like it showed his name, I could put his name in if it was poker. I could put his name in, and then it would show what he's won, what his win rates are. They would give more than that too, actually. So it was almost like you could study a person's playing style and see the type of hands they were playing on a replay, which was wild. So that's how people could actually, you could learn about your opponent for online play without even playing ever with them. And when they show up at a table, you can get information in like 5 minutes or less. And remember, you always rotate tables, but nonetheless, that gives, then people can understand how you play. That gave them an advantage. This right here is the same thing. So you could find out how much a person made back in the day. Just like you could look up anybody, but I'll just give you like Phil Ivey. He's one of those guys that was a guy that played big money, him and a few other. And so people could actually look it up under their name and it would show you up 3 million. Dude was up like 10 million one year, something like that. Then it would show one year he actually lost like 2 mil because they're playing high stakes. We're talking about, there could be $10,000 a hand or something crazy. So there was these high volume guys, and you could actually track how much they were, how much they won or lost. And a lot of people would say you're a profitable trader or poker player, but then you can just go look it up. It's like, what are you saying right now? It's all tracked. You can't do this. You can't be on here telling somebody, oh, yeah, I made like a mill, and then sit there and be like, wait, we actually can see everything you've done. And they track live play too. So there's none of this. You could just go, oh, yeah, I made $5 million. You couldn't do that. There was none of that. You couldn't do none of that because it was all trackable. Because remember, every time you enter and every time you cash, they write down your name, the amount, because it's trackable. And there's leaderboards. So therefore, every game, like a World Poker Tour, World Series of Poker, or any other type of tournaments, there's a leader. Everybody who cashes gets paid. And then you have a board for who cashes the most or who made the most. All this stuff adds up. So that's why it was tracked. So everybody's name is available. It's not like you can hide. You can't just lie. And that's what I like about that World Cup trading competition. That's what they do too. You can't just lie. So I like this. I like it. I wish it was more like this because all these traders then that's online, you'd be able to go look up their stuff and then it would say, oh, yeah, that like he's just said here, he won 500, lost 200. But again, this is like Ivy situations, right? This dude, you would see him playing live online, high stakes. Next thing you know, he won like, he would have $200,000 on the table, right? So, hands go out, dudes, they got $400,000 on the table of winnings, trackable. When you're doing trading, it's not trackable. So this guy did 500, 200, lost, 500, yes, 500, 200 win, but we don't know, or maybe we do, he might show it, but we don't know what this actually comes to each month or at the end of the year. We just see some of this stuff. We don't see all of this stuff, right? When we played online poker, all of it was trackable. When we played live, all of it's trackable. It wasn't not well, I shouldn't say all of it. It's just that if you're playing in major tournaments, all of it's trackable. World Poker Tour, World Series of Poker, uh, even the Heartland Poker Tour, even what was the other ones? There were some others. All of it's trackable. It's on TV. It's trackable. So that's what I miss is that, and then this trading thing is not trackable. So I wish it could be. But anyhow, let's rock. He track everything using Trading View and show it. Now we're talking. There we go. Thank you for mentioning this because this was a thing I was looking for. Let me go find this. Trading View. Uh, yeah, that's what I wanted to find out. Let me see if this is what I'm referring to. Are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about Trading View. Okay, I thought you were talking about VUE. You're talking about the actual Trading View, VIEW, not VUE. Is there a? Here's what I want to know: is there a is there something you can log into and it tracks your trades automatically? I mean, across. Well, I should say it this way: a place that you can enter what you started with and what your profit was each session, similar to like when I used to play poker. I'd enter in and then it would that's how I know my win rate, that and it would calculate for me my profits and all that. So I would always have a running total or running month, however I wanted to separate it, but I'd keep mine a running total. And so at the end of the year, it was very simple for tax situations because then it had how much I started with, how much I ended with, and what my profit or loss was for that session. And so it was very easy. Profits add up, losses add up. And then whatever that is, that's how much I might have to give the tax guy. See. Okay, trader view. Oh, okay, trader view. Okay, trader view. Because if that's it, that's what I'm looking for next. Because I need something that does that. Trader view. Trade smarter with trader journal. And that's what they're calling it. Is that what they're calling it? Journal. Yeah, free trading journal template. Maybe this is what I'm looking for. Because this makes it so easy. I mean, I already know from the broker, they actually have it tracked. It has your account history. So it should be simple if they allow you to do a download or something, and you can actually just put it in without having to manually do it. That would be cool. Trading analysis, reports, dashboard. Okay, tell me. There it is. There's a trading journal here. Is that what they call these things? I've seen this trading journal name before. Well, we'll get into it later. Um, Track review, all entries and exits, display, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I need some, oh no, I might have it. Okay, well, thank you. Appreciate it. See, ladies and gentlemen, you never know what you're going to find out. This is major. It linked to your account. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now we're talking. Now you have me interested because this way you have to be honest with yourself. In any business, you always have to be honest with yourself. I consider it business if I'm going to do stock trading. It's business for me. And if they have tax write offs, believe me, I'm going to be professional. All right. Let's just make this plain and simple. I'm not going to be doing this as just Joe Schmo. I want to make sure if they tell me that I can have a business and I'm a business entity or I can create one and do it, either way, that's what I'll be doing. Because then you'll have tax write offs for other things. Think about it. That's what you want. All right. All right. Thank you so much, MGA0214. I like that. That's what I was hoping for. If it links to the account, then everything's already trackable. So that means I'm limited. I don't have to do too much. I don't mind doing a little bit. I just didn't want to have to do the whole thing. So I didn't think I would anyhow because there's account history on the brokers. So I figured there must be, it's computerized. So it'll work out. All right. I'm going to wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen. Our first one on 2026. Thank you again for being here. I see you guys on Monday at 8:50. No. Yeah, 8:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hopefully you'll come back and join me and the rest of the crew and get your pens, pads, and papers ready because you never know what I'm going to talk about. Even I don't know what I'm going to be talking about on Monday, but it's going to be out here trying to help you. That's for sure. And the rest of the crew here at SSN Nation trying to help you. So make sure you tell people to come over here and check us out and come along for the ride. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here and it's going to get harder, so I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If you are successful right now, you need to stack your funds or stack your investments because investments are going to be off the chart this year. The Trump regime is going to make sure the stock market rises by default. All right. But you better be in it. All right. So prepare yourself accordingly. Investments accordingly. Home prices and real estate, you can always make money in real estate. It just depends on how you buy. You got to buy low, sell high. You got to figure out, by the way, it's something I talked about, I led with. Whenever real estate goes haywire, which probably is going to happen somewhat, I always recommend looking for land in a great location. But you can buy it cheap. But the thing is, you have to make sure you got water, sewer, electricity. And if you don't have that, then you better figure out what you're going to be doing with none of that or partial of that. And it better be something that you can make money from instead of letting it just sit there after you buy it. because you got property taxes to pay. And if you're in an HOA environment, you got that to pay. So don't go out here willy-nilly, but there will be opportunities if there is a real estate crash that has been pending and waiting around the corner. But if the rates get down to something reasonable, 4.5 or 4%, we could see something, but I just think, I don't know, we may be far too gone for that because a lot of people take on a mortgage and don't have a job for 5 years, 4 years. That's not going to work well. So just keep all that in mind. We want you guys to win out here. A rising tide lifts all boats. We're going down a path where the teeter-totter is going downhill. We got a whole bunch of people down here. The teeter-totter done popped up and they're sliding down towards us. And now what? No way to get out. Just keep that in mind. So you have to make sure you have a way out in case you get cut off. Job-wise, your own business-wise, whatever it is, you have to have another way to do something. So that's what you got to work on in 2026 because you have 1 year, and get your credit in order, by the way. 775 by December 31st. That's what you need. That's the goal. We want you to have 0% for 36 months so that way you can swipe and every 99% of it goes towards the full amount instead of siphoning off 30, 40%. All right, that goes to interest. Just keep that in mind. All right, that money that you would have had going to interest could be buying you assets. Just remember that. And with all that said, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you stay safe and calm out here. But above all, keep your head up, keep moving, and I'm out.